I'm going to talk about 5 basic elements called Panchamahabhuta. And it gets a little boring. Stay with me. Maybe we can make sense out of it. Ayurveda believes in 5 basic elements. There are a lot of people who are trained in TCVMA, and they know 5 basic elements. Most of them are common, except maybe you don't see wood here. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, and space. All of us are made of those basic 5 elements. Body typing, called dosha or doshas, is a unique concept to Ayurveda. We believe in Ayurveda that 5 basic elements come in combination or different combination in each individual differently. Basically, these 5 elements will have 3 basic body types called 3 doshas. When air and ether comes into picture, it is called Vata. When fire and water comes into picture, it is called Pitta. When water and earth comes into picture, it's called Kapha. So those are individual body types. Not everybody is always individual body types. There's a combination. You can combine Vata and Pitta, be Vata and Pitta type. You can combine Vata and Kapha, could be Vata and Kapha type, or you can combine Kapha and Pitta, be Kapha and Pitta type. Sometimes you have all 3 in you, called Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and it's also called as a Sama. Sama is a balance. You want to have a balance of all 3 in you, not an excess or deficient of any one of these types. True representation here, I did the color on them. Earth, Mother Nature is green. We know all that. Air, space, sky is blue. Pitta is hot because there's a fire in it. It's the same concept. We talked about this thing here. What does Vata type people have? One thing I forgot to mention in there, the body types. Each type represents different body buildups. Vata type are slender, slim. They will have cold hands and feet. They dislike cold, and they don't like cold food. There's definitely issues with the movement because if they have bad circulation. If the Vata is not balanced, they will have a bad circulation. It could lead to hypertension, which is a modern disease, cardiac arrhythmia, that's also a modern disease, muscle spasms, and backaches. They have dry skin, they have dull hairs and dull eyes, and they do not sweat. They are very impulsive, very emotional. They have mood swings. They have scattered thoughts. I know we're talking humans, but there are dogs I can relate to in my practice and my own personal dogs where I've seen these things happen. They are quick learners and they easily forget. They don't have a long-term memory. It's the most powerful because of the movement. And I was looking at it, I don't think anybody has ever mentioned about it in the books. If I have to find one good representation, it would be hound breeds. Borzois, greyhounds, Afghans, Italians. They look sleek, and one time or another, I was dealing with a whole rescue group out of the racetracks of Afghans. You could see they're always buzzed, their hair missing, they're lean, sleek. They're intelligent enough, they learn quickly, but then they will not do the things you want them to do next day. Pitta is hot, it's fire. It's a heat and water combination. I'm going to try to make a little correlation with the Pitta. And literally, Pitta is directed or related with your metabolic activities, your enzymes, your digestion. Ayurveda believes when you process the food, there is a heat. Without the heat, the food does not get processed. Since it's hot, it leads to inflammatory type of reactions. People who have excessive Pitta will have flushed and red skin, heart burning sensation, and stomach and liver, ulcerations, burping. Like was talked about, Pitta maintains your digestive enzymes and bile secretions. If you are excessively, you have too much acidity, you have too much bile secretions. If you're deficient, you may not be able to process the food. Because it's hot, it leads to an overactive metabolic activities. If you are hot, you like to be cold. You want to make cold drinks, cold water. They sweat a lot. They have a bad odor because they sweat a lot. They have a foul-smelling urines. Though this is my favorite breed, I see so many Rottweilers in my clinic, and one time or another, in given time, I could have 5, 6 in my kennels for treatment dropped off. I think this breed has got a bad rep, but they are the nicest dogs I love. But that would be a good representation of it. Pitta animals, again, it's not mentioned in the slide. It might be in the books. They are well built, muscular, tough. Kapha, these animals are obese, they're slow, and human beings, and I'm pretty sure animals too, they feel very sluggish after eating. They have a soft skin and hairs, slow speech, slurring, and they move slowly. That's my another favorite breed, but you can see the massive nest of them and how big they are. But this is a true representation in the modern time. I put that in because I liked how magnanimous this animal was. A beautiful picture, and I loved it. But this is what we're seeing right now, a typical Kapha dog, all hypothyroid. And they're not the typical Goldens anymore who used to love you, but they are getting hyper and we're different too, but anyways. What is the concept of disease in Ayurveda? I think before we talk about disease, we should all know and understand what the health is. If you don't understand the basics of health, we cannot define disease. Health is constantly challenged by external and internal environment of the body. What is exposed externally and what's going on within the body. When those two things are not in equilibrium, disease process starts. And if you don't take care of that stop there, it could lead to a disease thing. Disease and an imbalance. An imbalance is treated with the disease strategy to restore optimal function and balance. So we want to balance it out so you can restore the optimal functions. How do you achieve balance? Obviously, mental clarity is one thing. The diet, nutrition, yoga, which helps with the mental clarity, and herbs. Possible surgical techniques, again, which may or may not be available in this type of the word, but they're mentioned in Ayurvedic books. How does state of health happen in Ayurveda? When your digestion is well balanced, and it goes back to your food should be your medicine and your medicine be your food. When all the 3 doshas are in equilibrium, they're not buzzing, they're not suppressed. I'm going to touch on the concept of waste production. When all the production of waste and elimination of waste is in equilibrium, there's a normal. Sensory organs, so you can see, you can hear, you can touch, you can taste, you can work with the coordination, that's a normal health. Your mind and conscious works good, so you're clear what I'm saying, you can grasp it, or what you tell me, I can grasp it. Again, we're going to go back to classification of disease according to the body types, Vata type, Pitta type, and Kapha type. There are quite a few other combinations, but we'll talk about these 3 body types here. What are the Kapha diseases? People who have Kapha type body will have tendency towards the Kapha diseases. What are the Kapha diseases? Reoccurring respiratory diseases, flu, common cold, tonsillitis, sinus infections, allergies, bronchitis, lung congestion, asthma. We believe the Kapha originates in stomach, and it goes back to the same process with the digestion. If you're not eating right, if you're not processing food, or eating the food which make you allergic, you will have a Kapha type of diseases. Pitta body type will have tendencies toward the Pitta. Since it dealt with the fire, it's dealt with the heat, it leads to overactive metabolic activities, GI, gastrointestinal diseases, acid reflux, ulcerations, overactive or underactive gallbladder, liver diseases, inflammatory bowel disease. And what they say, Pitta originates in the small intestine. Vata type people will have Vata diseases. Vata is associated with the air, and it makes sense that these patients will have gas, colic. I don't know if I can recollect right or not, but maybe TCM also talks about some air factors there or not, but the lower back pain, arthritis, paralysis, they're all Vata-related diseases, and it originates in the large intestine. If your large intestine is not healthy, if your microbiome or your flora is not healthy, it will lead to all these things. Any imbalance in all these things or disease affects somebody's body, mind, and consciousness. Ayurveda goes back to food again. Food, individual habits, and environmental affects the doshas and thus the diseases. Emotionally, Vata creates fear, depression, and nervousness. Pitta creates anger, heat, and jealousy. Kapha produces greed, passiveness, and attachment. If you look at all those things, there are different versions of different psychological or psychological disorders here. Fear, depression, nervousness, anger, jealousy, greed. But depending on what is your body representing, you will probably be the part of that thing. There's a direct correlation with the diet, habitat, environmental things, and emotional disorders. We are right now in Vata season. There's a seasonal variation of these things. Vata season is going to be a September, October, November fall thing. Kapha predominates in winter months to early spring. As we know, Pitta will be late spring and summer because of the heat. Daily routines. There's changes of body or these body types. 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. is your Kapha timing. 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. is, and same thing with the 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. will be Pitta timing. And Kapha would be 10 p.m. to 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and in the evening time. The reason I'm mentioning these things is if you are a certain particular type, you should be avoiding those foods in certain time frame. If you're a Kapha type, you should not be eating Kapha promoting food between 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. or 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Similar thing with the Pitta, you don't want to eat Pitta promoting food between 10 a.m. 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. 2 a.m. Same thing with the Kapha, 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. They have also classified that human life is divided into 3 subsections. The biggest section is the Pitta section. Up to 16 years old, predominantly your Kapha. Then 16 to 50, which is considered youth, is your Pitta type. Vata is an old age. I want to talk this concept of 7 dhatus or tissues. Again, it's a unique concept. According to Ayurveda, we are made of 7 vital tissues called dhatus. Dhatus are made or produced by intake of food and nutrition. All dhatus, all 7 work together to ensure the smooth functioning of the body. 7 dhatus, what we have are plasma, blood, muscle, fat, bone marrow, and nerve tissue, and reproductive tissues. I think there's something lost in the translation, but again, I know when we translate Sanskrit to Chinese or Chinese to Sanskrit or Sanskrit to English, there will be some compromise here. But according to Ayurveda, plasma itself is a tissue which feeds into blood, which kind of makes sense because blood contains plasma. But blood feeds the muscles, muscles feed the fat, fat feeds the bone marrow, and bone marrow feeds the bone marrow and a nerve tissue. And those tissues feeds into reproductive organs. So they successively feed, number one feeds number two, feeds three, three feeds four, fourth feeds the fifth, like in that order. Plant kingdom also has similar 7 dhatus. It is mentioned that plant dhatus nourish animal dhatus. So if you're eating a plant-based food, you are nourishing your animal tissues or animal dhatus. I want to talk about the concept of Agni, or fire, or digestion. It's a complex metabolic and physiological phenomena where you process, digest, and assimilate food into the body. Agni technically literally means fire. Like I said, that the Ayurveda, digestion is considered to be a type of fire. And there are different types of Agnis. When you have an impaired Agni, it leads to accumulation of Agni. They have described different Agnis, but I'm going to describe Agnis only based related to the digestion. Sama is balanced. Everything is even. Vishma is irregular. Tikshna is hyperactive. Manda means slow. And all these type of things, depending on what your body type, will affect individuals differently. I think the one statement they said, all diseases in human being primarily are a reflection of your lifestyle. Except for aging. We do progress, we do age, we do break down, but you could slow down the process and age gracefully. There is a concept of mahad. Mahad is a psychological imbalance. And I keep coming back to emotional status, psychological balance here. If you're not emotionally healthy, if you're mentally healthy, disease process does happen. And we all know that. We can age overnight. But to say the Purusha, which is a male, Prakruti, which is a female, when they come together, they produce Mahad, which is the cosmic intelligence. And when we deviate from cosmic intelligence, we produce ego. This is the ego, which they're talking about in a bigger picture, would be your mental, psychological, emotional disturbance, which will lead into producing diseases. I do want to talk about the concept of mala. I touched way back up there. Technically, mala is the waste products. It is produced by physiological and metabolic activity in the body by taking the food. You need to eliminate waste products, the mala, from the body for health. If the eliminations are not right, you may not be healthy. Well, to say the biological fire, Pitta, which is your digestive enzymes, the water from Kapha plays a vital role in the digestion. It's the air, physiological air, the Vata, which helps to govern, to move Pitta and Kapha out of the body. Somehow there's an imbalance in these things. It will lead to what we call malaksha or malavriddhi, either decreased or increased production of mala. And basically, you will have a problem with elimination, whether it's a constipation or diarrhea. Ayurveda defines, which pretty much all we know, feces, urine, and sweat as major malas. They are the waste products. They are doshas, that means they are pollutants in the body. They need to be gotten rid of the body. All these 3 malas should remain in balance and equilibrium to ensure the health by proper elimination. And AMA basically arises due to unripe and undigested food.